Hi, and welcome back to the Forgive Yourself podcast. I'm your host, Brenda Reese. And today we're diving into something that affects all of us. We're going to talk about unmet needs. We all have needs, right? They're not selfish, they're not wrong, and they are not a weakness. They're part of being human. But when those needs go unrecognized or unmet, they can quietly shape our emotions, our choices, and even our relationships. And because I know these conversations that you and I have are most powerful when we put them into practice, I have created a free worksheet to go with today's episode for you. So you're going to find that in the show notes. It'll guide you through recognizing your own unmet needs, exploring where they come from, and taking small, compassionate steps to meet them. Now, what are these unmet needs that I'm talking about, and where do they come from? An unmet need is a basic human requirement, which is emotional, physical, relational, it can be spiritual, that is not being fulfilled. It's an unmet need. Yet, our unmet needs don't just appear out of nowhere. Many of them go back to childhood. For example, if you grew up in a home where safety felt uncertain, right? Walking on eggshells, maybe alcoholic parents, there's abuse or yelling, you may carry a deeper need for security into your adulthood. If you were only praised for achievements when you were younger, you may actually hunger for recognition and validation and work hard to achieve that. And if you were told that expressing your needs was selfish, or sometimes even if you inferred that it was by those looks that we got, you may struggle with autonomy or even resting when you need to rest without feeling guilty. That's a lot of us who have to keep going, keeping busy. Unmet needs are often, we'll call them echoes of moments when our authentic self wasn't fully supported, protected, and seen. To kind of put this together, I had worked with a client that we're going to call her Sarah. On the outside, Sarah looked like she had it all together, like a lot of us do. Successful career, family, and a busy, full life. Yet she came to me feeling exhausted and resentful. She was always the one taking care of everyone else, yet no one seemed to notice when she was struggling, right? All right, I'm raising my hand on that one. As we worked together, Sarah realized that as a little girl, she was praised for being the responsible one, mainly because she was put in that parentified position at a young age. She got recognition when she helped others, but not when she expressed her own needs. Over time, she learned that being loved meant serving others first. And now, in adulthood, Sarah's unmet need for recognition and rest showed up as burnout. She still had an old story running. If I want love, I have to take care of everyone else first. Her healing began when she named the need. And this was something that she had a hard time with. Do you? Her need was, I need recognition for who I am, not just what I do. And then she took small steps, which was hard, asking for help, and then practicing self-validation. And over time, her family and her colleagues began seeing her differently. Sarah's story reminds us that unmet needs aren't a sign of failure. They're simply old patterns asking for recognition and healing. So now I'd like us to go through 5 of the most common unmet needs that I work with my clients, and what I think a lot of us go through, and then how you can respond to these unmet needs. The first one is safety and security. Now, when this need is unmet, you may feel anxious or unsettled, right? Frustrated, maybe. You can respond to this need by creating some grounding routines, right? To create safety within our body and in our environment. You can learn to set some boundaries. I know it's hard, but we can learn to do that. And maybe even bring more predictability into your day. This is along safety lines, like creating a morning or an evening routine for yourself. Now, number 2 of the most common unmet needs is belonging and connection. Now, when this need is unmet, loneliness often shows up, even in a crowd. Because, even Brene Brown, she talks a lot about belonging as one of our needs as a human. If this is your need, you can respond to this by, learning to reach out to someone to talk, initiating a connection. Because remember, it's our need, and this will actually empower us versus, ending up being resentful because someone doesn't know I need to talk, right? I spend a lot of time being really resentful about that. It's like, how come no one reaches out to me? How come I'm always the one? Well, I'm always the one because I'm come across as I got it all together. So nobody thinks I would need any assistance or even connection. And the other thing that helps in this is to also name that you feel loneliness, kind of like Sarah did. She had to name the unmet need. And we're naming it without shame. The third unmet need is recognition and validation. Now, when this need is unmet, you may feel overlooked or unheard. Gotcha? Okay. You can respond to this need by self-validation practices. And what I mean by that is like journaling or asking directly for acknowledgement. Okay, this is important. Communication is powerful, and we do need to ask. We can't expect people to read our minds. I know some of us do. I spent a lot of time doing that. Communication is powerful. And when we actually ask directly for acknowledgement, if we ask for something, it doesn't mean we're needy. It's actually a powerful move on our part. It's a confident move. How many people do you know will ask for that? It's okay to do that. And of course, this is a learning process. Now, the fourth unmet need is autonomy and freedom. When this need is unmet, you might feel trapped or powerless. That's really hard. To feel powerless is hard. You can respond to this need by making small, empowered choices daily for yourself and clearly communicating your boundaries. Okay. So this is about autonomy and freedom because contrary to what we seem to believe about boundaries, they actually provide us that freedom and liberation. They allow people to learn how to treat you, and you yourself learn how to treat yourself, respect yourself, stand in your power. And the fifth unmet need is rest and nourishment. Now, when this need is unmet, we get irritable and burnout can happen pretty easily. You can respond to this need by this is a big one. Okay. Scheduling some downtime. Yep. I know. Those of us, it's like, nope, 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 Brenda, I'm not going to do it. Not going to do it. I encourage you to at least try, even for a few minutes. Start with 5. Okay. You can also respond to this need by learning to say no without guilt and listening to your body's cues. Our bodies are systematic. They're cyclical. What's the other word that I want? They run like, do you notice that you kind of feel down? Like your body kind of goes into a rest period. Like some people will call it mid-afternoon burnout or those kind of things. Well, actually, our bodies run on 90-minute cycles. They kind of refresh themselves. So when we give ourselves the permission to rest even a couple times a day, just to take like 5 to 15 minutes, it makes a difference. And after my brain tumor surgery, when I had that removed, I learned that I needed to rest. I had to rest my brain because we don't realize how much it runs all the time. I learned a really, really powerful lesson in how much energy it takes to breathe, to walk, to get out of bed, to do anything after the brain tumor surgery. And it was suggested to me to lay down for between 5 to 20 minutes with no music, no nothing every day. And I did that, and it changes my whole nervous system and outlook on life. So I know I got off on a tangent there, but these are really huge for us, especially those of us that feel that we have to take care of others to receive love and acknowledgement. So, now let's look at what we can do to move forward. Okay. The first step in healing unmet needs is naming them. Like Sarah felt freedom just in being able to speak out loud what she was not receiving. Because what we name, we can nurture. What we name, we can nurture. So pause and ask yourself, which unmet need is alive for me right now? And once you've named it, ask yourself, where does this come from? What early messages shaped how I see this need today? Because from there, you can choose one small action you can take to honor that need. And I want to remind you the worksheet I've created will guide you through spotting your unmet needs and where you can reflect on where they came from. It gives you a place to write it down, and it guides you into taking some steps to meet them with compassion. And what I'd really like you to remember is unmet needs are not flaws. They are signposts pointing you toward healing. Okay, I'm going to repeat that one. Unmet needs are not flaws. They are signposts pointing you toward healing. So to be able to address these unmet needs, we want to remember 4 important things. One is self-awareness. We need this so we can recognize and acknowledge those needs. Number 2 is communication. This is key to be able to honestly communicate our needs to ourselves and then to someone else. Number 3 is self-compassion. So we want this so that we treat ourselves with kindness and understanding as we work to recognize these needs and make the changes that we're ready to make, right? And number 4 is we want to be able to seek support with a coach, a therapist, family, friends we can trust that will support us through this process because we don't have to do it alone. Our head will tell us we have to do it alone. We've learned that we can only rely on ourselves, but that isn't true. We work together. That's what we're meant to do. And that's where we feel most fulfilled and validated is when we can work together. Your needs are valid. By meeting them with gentleness, you create more space for peace, clarity, and compassion in your life. Now, if today's episode resonated with you, I encourage you to download the free worksheet that's linked in the show notes. It's a simple but powerful tool to help you take what we've talked about and apply it in your own life. And please, please, please remember, your needs are valid, and meeting them with gentleness is an act of self-love. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. And until next time, take care of yourself, because you're worth it. Thank you so much for listening today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did enjoy it, would you do me a favor and share this episode and then follow us on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss one episode of the Forgive Yourself podcast, where every Friday you will get tips, tools, and stories so that you can turn your pain into peace. Take care.